Mr. Calhoun, what is it that you get paid currently?
Senator, that's well disclosed in our proxy documents in each of the years that I've been employed.
Yeah, but what is it?
It's a big number, sir.
Well, let me help you out. It's $32.8 million this year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
That's a 45% increase over last year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
What is it you get paid to do exactly?
45% increase since last year on account of all the great work. On Tuesday, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun appeared at a Senate hearing where he was brutally shredded by several politicians, including Republican Josh Hawley. And it's important to hold people to account publicly, of course. But did anything meaningful come out of the hearing? Well, we'll get to that and more of Hawley shortly. But if you're unfamiliar, it's important to explain why Calhoun was speaking to the senators in the first place. Boeing has been in hot water ever since 2 of its 737 MAX 8 jets crashed, one in 2018 and one in 2019. Calhoun took over the CEO position after those incidents, but a series of recent controversies has cast serious doubt on his leadership. In January of this year, a door plug fell off a Boeing plane mid-flight, and the rest of the flight, the plane had, no door, which is kind of a key part of a plane flying well. A series of reports have since revealed Boeing's awful record on safety and quality inspection. In fact, several whistleblowers have personally testified that their concerns were ignored by higher ups at Boeing. One of those whistleblowers, John Barnett, passed away in March. Police ruled the death a suicide, though family and friends insist he would not have killed himself. Hawley continued to torch Calhoun for the company's many errors.
I mean, do you get paid for transparency? Is that one of the metrics for your income?
I think the board counts on me for transparency.
Really? Because you're under investigation for falsifying 787 inspection records. The Boeing's under criminal investigation for the Alaska Airlines flight. You were investigated by DOJ for criminal conspiracy to defraud the FAA. This is all in your tenure. This doesn't sound like a lot of transparency to me. Safety. Is that a component of your salary?
It sure is, Senator.
Have you seen the reports that the subcontractor that you used to make that door piece that fell out of the sky, that when the FAA went and toured the facility, they found one door seal being lubricated with Dawn liquid dish soap? You are eliminating safety procedures. You are sticking it to your employees. You are cutting back jobs because you're trying to squeeze every piece of profit you can out of this country. This company, you're strip mining it. You're strip mining Boeing.
This segment, of course, brought to you by the good people at Dawn Liquid Dish Soap. Dawn, we are not just for dishes anymore. We're great on airplanes. And obviously, I'm joking. Hawley was the toughest on Calhoun, but Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal also grilled the Boeing CEO. Let's watch.
You committed to, quote, strengthen Boeing's safety culture and rebuild trust with our customers, regulators, suppliers, and the flying public. And for a while, some sort of believed that Boeing might have changed. But then this past January, the facade literally blew off the hollow shell that had been Boeing's promises to the world. And once that chasm was exposed, we learned that there was virtually no bottom to the void that lay below.
I mean, not quite as good of a burn. That was typical Democrat burn versus Republican burn. Republicans are like, do you deserve that money? You don't deserve that money. Great stark terms, easy to understand. I'm hitting you hard. Democrat goes, under the prose I've crafted, you realize the chasm was blown wide open on the transparent. Like, what? I can't even follow it. Not effective. Also have a sip of water. But both going after the guy for what seems clear to me a failure and a dereliction of his duty. $33 million, a pay increase to not do anything. I feel as though you should be able, as the chief executive of a large company, to immediately, practically overnight, turn around all safety concerns, turn around, drastically step up safety inspections. Make sure, go down there yourself and make sure it changes. Within a month, change every problem. Actually do it, but no, that's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to maximize profits wherever possible, and therein lies the rub.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
There's two amazing parts to the story. So first is a Republican actually going after a corporate executive. I'm not sure I've ever seen it in about 30 years of covering politics. The Republican Party is set up for purposes of big business. Everything else is a theatrics. It's like Batman throwing, or Bane, pick your poison, throwing a flare somewhere, distracting you while they go do something else, right? So, oh my God, I care so much about trans issues, culture war issues, DEI, M&Ms, etc. Meanwhile, they're giving everything to the corporations, right? But Josh Hawley didn't. That was great questioning. And so it made me think, what's going on here? This is not anywhere near normal. And I thought I remembered this, and I went back and confirmed it. Turns out he recently stopped taking corporate PAC money. And all of a sudden, he's challenging corporations. Matt Gaetz recently stopped taking corporate PAC money. And what did he do? He's done a lot of terrible things, but one of the positive things he did was he introduced legislation to make sure that the Congress is not serving corporations. It was really good anti-corruption legislation to get money out of politics that the Just Democrats, AOC, Ro Khanna, et cetera, joined him on. Corporate PAC money, that's the #1 problem in our politics. Once they start taking millions of dollars from these guys, they serve these guys. And why did Boeing have all these problems in the first place? My theory is that for so long in this country, there's been no accountability from the government. So I think that the executives and the corporations figured out nobody's at home. I mean, there's no cops on the street at all. We could break anything. We could blow up a train in East Palestine. We could have planes fall out of the sky. We could endanger our workers, and we'll call it deregulation. We could endanger the citizens, and we'll call it deregulation. And we'll have our, scummy politicians go out there and call it freedom when we blow things up over your house, right? So that's why Boeing's probably surprised. Like, what's the big deal, man? Well, I mean, you should see how we're robbing you blind with the defense contracts, right? I mean, you guys have been giving us unaccountable money, hundreds of billions of dollars all these years. Now you're worried because 346 people died because we're not doing any safety on the planes anymore, and another door flew off, et cetera. So guys, it's all about incentives and disincentives. If you allow them to take giant corporate money, they will always serve corporations. To that point, if you're skeptical about my claims of how over the top Republicans have been in my lifetime, not only have I seen them apologize to the bankers after the 2008 crash that they caused, right? Like, oh, we're so sorry that the Democrats are trying to regulate you. We're for your freedom. They just crashed the entire global economy, right? But then Joe Barton took it over that, a representative from Texas. After BP was forced to pay a fine because of the giant disaster they created in the Gulf, Joe Barton apologized to the CEO, said, oh, we're so sorry that you had to pay a fine. And BP is not an American company. None of these are American companies anyway. They're all multinational corporations. But there he is apologizing to a foreign CEO because that's how he gets paid, to go through all the bribes. So great job by Josh Hawley here. Amazing to see Congress even do the theatrics of accountability. I mean, how would you actually hold Boeing accountable? Not through this. You'd pass some laws and you'd regulate them.
Yes.
So far, that has not been proposed.
Yeah, we have a little bit more on that, but also to your point of stopping to take corporate PAC money and that freeing these people up to finally go against them. I would love to see somebody once not announce that they're stopping to take corporate PAC money, but start speaking out in the same way against these corporations, and then actually have the data to show the donations drop, instead of having to say, I'm not taking it.
Oh, that's a great point, Ben. Because remember, the main reason corporations give these money to all these politicians, and why we have so many old politicians, is because corporations get a good return on investment. And they go, oh, Biden and Mitch McConnell have delivered for me for 50 straight years. I don't care that they're freezing and can't walk. Can they say yes when I order them to sign a bill? Yes, okay? So that's why if somebody didn't make the pledge and just stopped following orders, Ben's totally right. I guarantee you their donations would drop like a rock.
Right.
What happened? I thought Boeing was giving to all these politicians because of the general welfare. I mean, come on, guys. Can you believe mainstream media? They pretend that these guys have actual principles. No, they're all just doing whatever the donors tell them to.
And that's exactly why when people take personal stands, it seems only just personal. Like they're on their own conscience, maybe sick of it or they're tired of it and they want to be able to end their campaign even publicly, ego-wise. I didn't take at the end of my, but you're not trying to create the systemic change. It's like when people are working in the Trump administration and they see the one bridge too far of corruption or horrible action, so they resign. What do you mean you resign? You're one of the few voices there that now is seeing the light. And you could stay in power and moderate it and start speaking out against him publicly and privately and make him fire you, make him come to you. And instead of saying, this is so bad, our country's in danger by this madman, so let me relinquish a little bit of check and balance I have on that and just let it continue unfettered. And it just shows again how completely never the powers that be in this country that are so corrupted by these influences never care about the common man. They only care about their corporate interests. The great example you gave of 2008 and the bank crisis, when they decided to bail out the banks for the mortgage crisis, they only gave the bailout directly, I've said this before, only gave the bailout directly to the banks, when they easily could have just put in one little provision to it that would have also helped both sides, helped the common man, said, we are going to give the money to the mortgage holders and mandate that they use that bailout money to pay their mortgages. And with the same exact dollars, not an extra dollar, you bail out both the mortgage holders, the common person who was completely underwater in their life because of that crisis, because of these irresponsible mortgages, and you'd help the banks at the very least. I think you should have let the banks just fail, but at the very least you do that, and they didn't. It didn't even occur to them to try to help the common person. So it's great to yell at these people publicly, but like Cenk asks, will any good actually come of it in any sort of tangible way? Well, again, Hawley and Blumenthal got great sound bites out of the hearing, but did the American people get anything out of it? Will we get anything out of it? For the most part, no. Part of the issue is Calhoun announced in March he'll be stepping down as CEO at the end of the year, so they're kind of yelling at him almost just to get it off their chest. He'll be receiving, of course, a $45 million golden parachute to be leaving the company, because what wonderful job he's done. So far, the company's not selected even a replacement, so that person can't be held accountable in advance. That means that Calhoun couldn't promise any changes to the company, of course, also, because before long, he won't have any power to make them. And according to Richard Abulafia, managing partner for Aerodynamic Consultancy, an aerospace advisory firm, Calhoun's successor probably won't be much better. Nothing has produced change at Boeing except frustration from a bunch of airline customers. Abulafia said the board has shown little indication of even seeing a need to change the way things are done at Boeing, calling it a board on autopilot. According to Politico, it's unlikely that Congress also will pass any legislation on the issue this term. But there is a little bit of good news. Last week, the Federal Aviation Administration Chief Mike Whitaker told senators that Boeing's failure were also in part thanks to the FAA. So why is that good news? Because he says now the FAA will be much more involved with Boeing. He told senators, let me also acknowledge that the FAA should have had much better visibility into what was happening at Boeing before January 5th. The FAA's approach was too hands-off, too focused on paperwork audits and not focused enough on inspections. We've changed that approach over the last several months, and those changes are permanent. We now have moved into a more active, comprehensive oversight model. So that's the promise. Memory is short, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, last thing. So why did he get a 45% increase? He admitted under Hawley's questioning later that in his tenure, they've never had profits. And why is he getting $45 million golden parachute, made $33 million last year? It's because cost cutting. So there's, he has an increased revenue, but he's cut costs. And so a lot of these companies have tremendous debt, and so they're trying to pay down the debt, and they took a lot of that home, the shareholders did, the executives did, et cetera. So they've got to make up for it. So, but if you do cost cutting, sometimes you do cost cutting on safety. Now, it's one thing when you do cost cutting and you run a car wash, you could scratch somebody's car and that sucks, right? But when you do cost cutting at Boeing and planes drop out of the sky and hundreds of people die. So this is one of the problems of extreme capitalism that we have now. When it's completely deregulated, people are like, well, why do I care about the 346 dead? I'm not gonna pay any consequences for that, but I saved billions of dollars through cost cutting, so I just got richer. And if you're looking for them to have morality, that's not how this works. So good questioning. Let's hope that it leads to actually good legislation keeping these guys in check. And what I would love to do is audit them on the defense contracts, because that's where you're gonna find the real robbery. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.